first hop on, I just gonna share it real quick on a couple on the pages, that the event page and my pages. So one moment. And for those of you guys joining us, hello, feel free to share your name of your loved one if you're an impacted family member. And then we take comments and questions. We may not get back to all of them right away as we are speaking, but myself and the family will go through them later if anybody leaves us stuff. So we got a few people on. We got 7 people joining so far. Hello to you guys, and feel free to share this for us on your guys' feed as well. And if you guys are a part of any groups that pertaining to this topic, feel free to share them there as well. And then I'm gonna get started in just a minute. We'll introduce our guests.
Show that I'm sharing. I'm looking at the thing.
Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So we are on episode 16 of Voices of Strength, and Voices of Strength is a series I started where we highlight the stories, where we share the lives and about the death also of those killed by police. We've had guests from across the country join us, and today we have guests coming in from Michigan. We are focusing on Darius Wimberly, also known as Karate, and today we have his family, his mother Ayanna, and then his mother's cousin Melissa. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Ayanna Johnson. Darius Karate Wimberly is my firstborn.
And my name is Melissa Hughes, and Darius Wimberly, I am Karate, is my cousin.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. So we have about 17 people on right now. And I want to always like to remind people that a lot of the people that join and it being also impacted family members. And I encourage you guys to share your loved one's name with us in the comments. I know a lot of you guys will relate to the things we're speaking of. So I'm here as the host, as Marissa Barrera. For those of you that don't know me, my brother, Michael Barrera, was killed in 2017 by multiple officers of the Woodland Police Department. And I've come to know a lot of families and hear a lot of stories. So that's why I created this platform, because a lot of times people are left with the narrative that the police leave about our loved one, which after you live this life, you know that they're false narratives, and it's a lot that the families go through and that they do to the victims and the families behind the scenes. So we do this show to share more about who that person was, because behind every story and name, there is a real person, and you don't hear that side. So let's go ahead and get started talking about your son. I met you via Facebook 2 or 3 years ago, and I always remember your story, and that's, you know, I contacted you. And let's go ahead and start talking about him and tell us what he was like and anything you want to share.
Okay, Darius was 28. He had no children. He was an educator. He was a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. He taught free in all the Benton Harbor area schools. For those that couldn't afford Taekwondo, he gave free lessons on Saturdays in the park. I can remember getting phone calls saying, "Hey mom, you think you can drop some hot dogs and some buns off over here at the park? Because I got kids." Just an all around fun guy. He could walk into a dark room and make the sun shine. And everything is really surreal with him not here. It's hard for me to say that he's, but he was good in the community. His high school teacher became his best friend. He still helped one of his other high school teachers. He took her Christmas trees up and down every year and her summer clothes up and down. He raked her yard. He was just an all-around good kid. We've been in the same house 30 years. So all of our neighbors knew him. He was very helpful to everyone. He loved people, he loved kids, and he loved his community.
Thank you for sharing that. And did he have siblings?
Yeah, several siblings. He's got sisters, brothers. A couple of his siblings are here, but are kind of camera shy. But thankful that they're here. He may be coming. Are you gonna come here? Well, his brother's here. I was hoping that he would come and say something.
It's all good. Sometimes it's in people's own time. So if he wants to hop on at any time, I'm more than welcome to. Just let me know or just hop on in.
Have something you want about your brother? Not right now. It's still really hard for all of us. Mm-hmm. He loved his community. When they killed my son, our town cried. Our city cried. Old, young, white, black, gay, lesbian, whatever, our city cried. They had harassed my son. They promised my son death. When my son refused to work for the police, that's when the harassment started. My son didn't know nothing about the hood at all, except for trying to love on them kids. And
I'm sorry. I just wanted to make it clear to the people watching. So he was harassed prior to leading up to his death.
Yes. He was teaching. It was like as soon as he turned 18, he was teaching the police kids. He was teaching the sheriffs. He was teaching the prosecutors and the lawyers' kids, because those were the people that could afford to put their kids in Taekwondo. The other kids he taught through the Benton Harbor area schools, like he was a gym teacher for them.
Okay.
And so for those that could afford the lessons, which were, i.e., the lawyers' kids, the police kids, you had some factory where people were making good money around here and their kids could afford it, but for the majority, it was a lot of kids that could not. And those were the kids that he got to the park and made do push-ups and sit-ups and told them how important school was. He just loved on his community. And, I used to tell him, and I said, boy, if you go out here, you get one of these girls pregnant. I said, I don't look here, look like Scrooge McDuck. I'm gonna make you marry. He said, Mom, I don't need no kids. Benton Harbor got enough kids for me to love. And that's what he did. And, there's a particular officer where my son told me numerous times that this officer promised him death.
My goodness.
Numerous times.
My goodness. And, for people watching, there's different people that come on, but I just want to point out that what the family is sharing, that there was targeting harassment prior, and then even death threats. It might sound crazy, but it's not abnormal when you become familiar with, whether it's you become an impacted family member or you study and really look into these killings. I just wanted to share that with the people watching, but go ahead and continue sharing.
They shot my son in the back 9 times riding a bike. Per their paperwork, he had no gun residue on his hands, per their paperwork. But they said he was riding a 20-inch Huffy bike, shooting 2 guns, like a cowboy. My son is about 6'2", between 250 and 270, riding a 20-inch Huffy bike, shooting 2 guns. Then they took the liberty of putting a gun in his hand, and they put a circle around it. But he was dead. We knew he was dead from the picture. It was a video. So conveniently, the officer that shot him wasn't wearing a body cam.
Typical.
Okay. Yeah, he wasn't wearing a body cam. I have residents that lived on the street told me that the police forced him in their house by gunpoint. I have numerous people telling me that there was more than one officer shooting at my son. Just it's not adding up. There's a man that was working in the building across the street that said my son had been helping him, and that he was going to the liquor store to make sure that to get him a drink and make sure that the man left the liquor store and didn't get robbed by nobody. And then he was coming back to help the man fix the house. I have several witnesses that say they never saw my son shoot anything, but they saw the police shooting him. The first person to contact me and tell me that the police killed my son, they burnt her house down.
My goodness. So let's go back to, okay, let me ask you, what was their first narrative that they released, the officers? We know the first narratives are always false narratives, but I just want to share what they said and then what you heard from the witnesses and people in the community.
The people in the community, we have a lot of live video. And the people in the community said he did not shoot. Nobody saw Darius shoot. They saw the police shoot Darius. I have so many witnesses. People were so afraid to be on camera because they were afraid of retaliation. I have a young girl that came up to me and said, your son didn't shoot, but the police shot him.
My goodness.
And the mother was afraid for the little girl to come forward because then the police would do something, like why was the little girl out at 2 a.m? So here we go, we're gonna put a protective service case on you. So how could I be mad at this mother for protecting her child like I'm trying to figure out what happened to mine? So some things are just a reality in life. And just like I'm a mother trying to get justice for my son, she's a mother trying to protect her daughter.
Yep.
So the police's narrative to begin on the news was young Black man riding a bike down the street shooting 2 guns at the police.
Yep. Okay. My goodness. And I do want to touch on the witnesses of feeling the intimidation of them. Oftentimes when there's a witness, they either get intimidated, threatened, or the cops just completely dismiss and don't include their statements. They never seem to actually get on the paperwork or in the media.
There were so many people that said, we gave the police our name, we gave the police our number. They said that the police never contacted them. They never contacted them. And then one of the witnesses that they used has a personal vendetta against me that I can prove on paper in court. Why would their testimony even be credible? It's just a lot of unanswered questions. There is a gun that my son was shot with a gun that was not from a police issue gun. So wow. They said they heard 2 shots. And the young man posted on Facebook, I called my father and told my father I only had one bullet and karate was outside. And then I get text messages like sending him to hell felt like heaven to me. Then I get text messages that says it must hurt that your son's killer is still walking around here.
Oh my goodness.
After my son was killed, other people that were involved approached my other son, came in his inbox and said, "We gonna kill you next." We took it to court. We called the police. They charged the man with an attempting to attempt. What is that?
Wait, what? Can you repeat that? What they tried to?
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Didn't even sound right. Didn't even sound right. This is what I'm saying. So after my first son was killed, my second son got an inbox on Facebook that said, we gonna kill you next. So when we called the police and filed a complaint and took it to court, they charged this man with an attempting to attempt.
Wow.
And I just wonder what that is. We have judges sitting on our benches with tether bands on their ankles.
And even after the police killed Darius, when our family would come from all around Michigan, when family would come into town, they would harass us. They would pull us over.
Every time I go to a meeting or a march, supporting us against them per se, they harass my son. The police bust my car window out with my son in it.
That was in the last, 6 months?
You know.
Your same son that got threatened to be killed as well. Gosh. Yeah. My goodness. That's a lot. And then, you know, for the intimidation of the witnesses and then what they're doing to your son, it's like they already did this to your other son. And what are we supposed to do? Who do we call when it's the biggest gang out there that has all this power?
It has, you know, I watch a lot of ID and, you know, they want you to empathize with these families on ID where they say, oh, this serial killer killed 26 people. Oh, I don't know where my child is. And and I understand and I empathize with them. But the police is the biggest serial killers in this bitch.
Yep. Yeah.
And they get away with it. And I excuse my language.
Oh, you can talk however you want on here.
But
oh, good.
Yeah, be yourself. Let it out.
Oh, no, Darius never reported anything against the police. My son always told me, once that officer continuously threatened my son was grown at this point. I asked him on numerous occasions to file a complaint against this officer. It was just like he knew. I can't understand it. I can't put my finger on it. You know, I even remember there was a big fight in the park here. And the police couldn't stop the fight. The parents couldn't stop the fight. And my son walked in that park and he was like, what is y'all doing? This is not how we disperse anger. Line up in formation. And a gazillion kids lined up in formation and stopped fighting and started doing Taekwondo moves. They labeled him again. They labeled him a gang leader.
Wow, my goodness. So he was actually out here doing good for the community, not the gang banging stuff.
When they killed my son was working with some top gang members in the Chicago area, trying to bring down a truce. He was doing stuff that I didn't even know. Wow. He was doing stuff that I had no clue that he was doing. Gosh. When they killed my son, they had to shut down the prisons in Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. That was the highest call-in rate for the Berrien County Jail in our department when they killed my son.
My goodness. Can I ask you, so since, you know, he was involved with so many youth and stuff, how did they react to this? since, you know, they're looking up to him and everything.
So I stopped a riot. So they killed Darius. Then they tried to incite a riot because they came down the street with assault rifles strapped to their chest, all big, you know.
And these are the cops, right?
These
The
is the
cops.
police. Now y'all done killed me. Now these the police. Now y'all just harassing people. Y'all trying to charge them up. They already crying in the streets. People cry in the streets. Our city cried.
There was a wailing in the city.
Our city cried. And the next thing you know, the FBI and the city manager was knocking at my door, telling me they needed my help because a group of young men had backed the police up down the street where they killed Darius. But y'all was picking with them. This is what y'all wanted. This is what y'all wanted. Y'all already knew they was mad. They was heated. They was boiling because everybody knows they killed him. Everybody knows, from old to young, knows that they killed him in cold blood. And so when you know somebody that care about the community, that do a lot, you know, then they were trying to just decimate his character, you know, and they were like, oh, he sold drugs. And then somebody yelled out in the crowd, if Karate had weed, everybody in the hood is smoking free. Everybody started laughing. So, and you know, and
that's a good person.
And it was like, if this is the worst you can say about my son, you know, and I'm gonna tell you, people can say what they want to say about the hood. And initially, I used to be like, why are you going over there? What's over there? Why you want to go over there? You know, you can teach, you can do this, you can do that. And he said, you know what, Mom? I love them and they love me. He said, and everybody ain't bad. He was like, don't judge. Come get to see for yourself. Just come see. So I started popping up down the street, bringing boxes of chicken. Just reasons to stop. What are you doing? Here, I brought you a 2-liter and your friends were here. Here's some cups. Just trying to get to know his new life. I mean, when they took karate away from my son, that broke his spirit. That broke his spirit. And it changed him. Not in a bad way, but it broke his spirit. And to me, the gentleman that he taught for allowed the police to come in there and harass him.
So he ended up losing the ability to teach there, where he was teaching these kids because of the targeting from the police.
Yeah.
So I have a comment that came up I want to address. It's a friend of yours, Michael. He's saying he was arrested by the police for playing his Kindle too loud. Can you share about that?
So yeah, he was walking down the street. And again, that's this particular police officer that stripped him down to his underwear and his karate gi.
My goodness.
Among some other things. And he was walking down the street with his Kindle and he arrested him and said he was walking down the street with a Kindle too loud and they took him to jail. Disturbing. Now, Darius had a vision problem. So he didn't carry a phone. They were too small. He couldn't see. And they say that my son went over to somebody's house on Broadway to get his cell phone back. But what do he need a cell phone for if he carry a Kindle? Gosh. And then in the police reports, the police say how they went up in this house and they searched. But in the video, you see the police never go in the house.
Yeah, if you watch, there's a released body cam footage video that the police released. And on that body cam footage video, you see several officers standing at the house, standing outside. They never entered the house. And then you can see on the video that you heard pop, pop, and then and then they took off running. You know what I mean? You know, so they lied, they lied there.
So he was already shot by somebody.
Because
yeah, you know, I did watch the video.
Different gunshots. And I remember, I remember when everything was being released and we sat listening, and I put in my earbuds and I just listened, because at the time they were saying there was like only 12, 13 shots that rang between the police and whatever happened. And I put in my earbuds and I listened, and I looked at my cousin and I said, there was over 21 shots fired. You could hear the difference in the pattern, like
the type of style.
It just, and you know, but the ironic thing is that what some people don't know is that there was an unreleased body cam footage video that 7 of us were only privy to see, with the mayor and the police chief at the police chief's office.
And it still don't.
And in that video, all that we saw was the moment that the officer came up to Darius, and Darius's body was entangled in his bike, and we seen the look on his face. So, and that's it.
So like, when you shooting him, your camera don't work. When you shooting him, your camera doesn't work.
But when you're
running up to him and you finally get to him,
your camera works.
Yeah, you know, that's how it always happens when the police kill. They either malfunction, they weren't working, or they just straight up turned them off. This is one thing why a lot of people talk about reform. I mean, the police, let's get body cams into all of them. That doesn't make a difference. And this is just an example and a very good example of why they don't make a difference if they can control them. And then also if they can only release little things to make it look a certain way. I did watch the video that you shared that is out there, and I seen exactly how you repeated it. And it's to me, now that I've been around here, these things are obvious.
And the one thing they did is they put a circle around his right hand, but his left hand is his dominance, just for the record.
So they're not even that smart when they're doing this shit.
No, not at all. No,
period.
No. And then the ironicness of it is that, so then later on that day, right, they said, we're going to have a press conference. And they go, and we're all, you know, my cousin Ayanna was here at home. She was home. We all went. Her mother, me, all the family went down there. And the police chief was about to release the body cam footage video. And he said, we have the permission from the mother to release this video. And you could see live on video, my sister got up and went and stopped them. They did not have no permission. They never even talked to her. It was a lie.
So that night when they killed my son, the pastor's daughter, her name is Eleanor Gavin, and her husband, Thomas Green, came to my house to get me and my then 10-year-old son. They came to tell me that something had happened to Darius. I knew something was wrong. My body started to hurt in just all the weirdest places. I just didn't know what it was. When Thomas, myself, my 10-year-old and his wife came back outside of my house, because we came in so I could slip something on. Benton Harbor police was outside with their guns pulled on us. Wow. But y'all said y'all didn't know who y'all killed. So when y'all shot my son a gazillion times, they took a stop sign down. I have people that say, witnesses, that say the stop sign was riddled and that they removed the stop sign so fast. They never cleaned up his remains. The neighborhood people, my cousins and his friends, cleaned up.
And they lied. They lied at the press conference. So at the press conference, they were asked by a reporter, who cleaned up Darius's blood in the street, is what they asked. And the police chief said, we did. And a family member blurted out, no, y'all didn't. Like, there is live video footage of when me and my little cousin were there. Like she said, there were those of us were there. I was there. and they took down the crime scene tape. And me and my cousin Star were the first ones on the scene. I have pictures and video.
My goodness.
Of my cousin's blood left in the street. And my cousin Star went to the neighbors asking and begging for water. And I scrubbed my cousin's blood in the street so that I could save my cousin and my other cousins from seeing that. And even hours later, his friends still continued to clean his blood in the streets.
Gosh, these people are so freaking evil. I don't know how they get away with doing this stuff to people. And I'm so sorry you guys had to do that.
Well, we wasn't, you know, for us, it was like, we ain't gonna leave it there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like,
That's
this
your
is
loved one.
I felt like in that moment, I looked at my little cousin Star and I said, this is the last thing that we can do for him. So for them to lie and say that they cleaned it up, they didn't. There was YouTube videos. There were other videos. You know what I mean? So it's like, where is your character and your honor and your integrity and even telling the truth about what happened? Like I have video witnessed tons of videos of people that say things that happened, that they heard, that they saw firsthand. And it does not line up with what Benton Harbor Police or Michigan State Police are saying.
I always say, I've been around doing this for 4 years now. There's people that have been here much longer, but it's literally, you got to believe the people and not the pigs, because this is what they do to the people. And then they're getting away with it. And I can't believe it's still happening. Every time I hear another story, it's just, you know, obviously it hits me at home, but to see it, new families come in all the time and have to live through these horrors, it's just insane. So believe the people, not the pigs.
And once they came down the street with that assault rifle and riled up all those young people, because that's what they did. Then they called the National Guard in here. Wow. And they had the National Guard sitting in the high school.
Gosh.
And what they thought was gonna happen was that they was gonna get to kill some more people's kids. But not on my watch.
My gosh.
My son wouldn't have even been there disgracing and defacing property or none of that. So the best thing I could do was send them home.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want anybody's mother or father to feel like I felt at that moment. There was no turning back.
Yeah.
And all the FBI could say to me was I had too much power for one woman. And like I told them, when y'all killed my son, you bitches gave me balls.
Yeah.
Y'all got the wrong son, but y'all got the right mom, and I will never get tired.
Yeah, they got the right family.
Yeah. Gosh. My goodness. We're getting, and just to remind you guys, we are getting a lot of comments on here. So you, after the show, not even today, but whenever you guys, I recommend just going through and seeing, you'll see a lot of support. And then you guys have your people that know you guys on here as well. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you all for
watching
and supporting us.
He had a lot of friends. He started something, him and a group of friends started something called the Rap Battle.
Oh, someone just left a comment saying that.
Okay, so what the Rap Battle was about was it stopped people from fighting each other, and they rap battled against each other, and the crowd picked the winner.
You express your anger through words.
Yeah.
Well,
and he spread that through Indiana, Michigan, Illinois.
Yeah, he was
and
he was all the way down south.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the way down south.
Yeah, he was everywhere. So they can try to break his character down, but he will always live on.
I am karate.
You know, he loved hard.
Yeah.
He loved hard, and he did everything he wanted to do. He hunted, he whitewater rafted, he done taekwondo, he done jujitsu, He done MMA.
Swim,
He
played
swam like a fish,
basketball.
basketball, football,
Music,
Everything.
hosting, teaching,
dogs. He
you know, dogs. Yeah.
Wow.
Love his dogs.
So when I say his life was short-lived, but
Defamation
full,
of character, like
full.
His character, how they tried to make it seem like that he wasn't this wholesome dude, like that really like is what really touched the most, like because when you know you got a wholesome guy, you know what I'm saying, who loves and looks out for everybody. Like he play with kids he don't even know. You know what I'm saying? He teach kids how to, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to defend yourself, even if I only gave you this 2 moves. Hey, it's gonna work. You know? So like for them to like undermine and demean his character on how a person he was. You see what I'm saying? Like that's really like hurtful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't like that at all because that wasn't the guy that they tried to make him out to be. That wasn't him. You know what I'm saying? Like he loved all kids. Like
you asked the question earlier about what was the impact that Darius's murder had on kids, right? Well, I can talk about my son.
Yeah.
And my son is 18 now. He was 14 then, 13, 14 years old. And I didn't realize the impact until recently, listening to my son talk about how he looked up to Darius like a father, how much he was a mentor to him, how he taught him. And he was, I didn't even realize it, that, you know what I mean? Because we are, you know, what happens is we as a family, everybody gets so caught up in their own feelings about how they're feeling and how they're grieving and what they're thinking. And unfortunately, some of our kids paid the cost.
Yeah, it hurt a lot of kids.
It hurt a lot of kids. Because there are kids still hurting to this day.
It's kids, and it's middle America who knew him. Like older people, like his mom, she had a lot of friends and
working in healthcare.
She knew a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it was his peers and the kids under him. I've watched this guy in the middle of the summer, 98 degrees outside teaching kids how to do moves, and they actually listening, paying attention, only because they know he know what to do. You see what I'm saying? So I don't like how they tried to portray him. That hurt more than anything. Like, okay, we lost the goat, but you don't talk about him. Yeah. You don't undermine him. You don't try to destroy his character just because of the situation that he got caught in. You feel what I'm saying? The situation at hand. You don't do that. Because when you look deep down inside, he didn't have no violent record. He didn't have no violent past. He didn't have, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing like that. Technically.
They kept saying, the news kept saying, we'll be back with his criminal record in 30 minutes.
Right.
And then in 30 minutes, they come and she say it again. And then we'll be like, we'll wait, in 30 minutes, she say it again.
You never get nothing.
And you're not going to get anything.
If you never get nothing, how can you undermine and destroy as a person? You can't get nothing.
We have, I just want to share, there's someone else, Nikila. I'm not sure if I said it right, but she shared, excuse me, also shared that her boys looked up to him as well. And then I do want to say, like, the media too, they're trashed. If they were doing their job, they would, he was the one that got shot in the back. They would be putting the records of the damn police or whoever is, all of those guys, the real killers up there. And they don't. They do our loved ones just as bad as these damn police do.
Yeah.
They even told us after we seen the unreleased body cam footage video, they told the 7 of us that we could not speak about it, talk about it, because we were under a gag order and we would be arrested.
We would be arrested if we talked about what we seen. That's what
yeah, I've seen that a lot. I've had other families share that, the gag orders and stuff. There's one of we've been fighting for a lot of stuff from my brothers and as well. And the thing they want to try to say is protected are the pictures to show what they actually did to my brother. You know, some people decide to go against it. Some people, I mean, who knows? Some of this stuff isn't even real. You know, they just say things like, you can't do this, but you're speaking the truth.
Yeah, technically,
you know, that's our family.
They can't do that.
But
Technically, they can't tell us what we can and cannot talk about as a family.
That's your loved one.
Right.
Exactly. They
But you know,
cannot tell us.
but you know what's crazy is that then you have all of these videos and all these things, right? And what people, this is something I want to share with the world about what happens to victims' families that are murdered by the police, okay? When every image that they put of him out there, that body cam footage video and everything, guess what? We will see that for the rest of our lives. If we wanted to protect our kids from that, from seeing that and not seeing that, the media took that away from us. They didn't give us that right. And that's a memory, just like Corinne Gaines' mom, other moms that we know, who we are friends with, right? Rhonda, like all of that other, like they take that away. They perpetuate it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Tamir Rice, all the, you know what I'm saying? Michael Brown, all the different things and people, things that have happened to them.
Cordell Handy.
They take and post the trauma out there, and they have no regard to what it does to the family of seeing it, reliving it.
Yeah.
It's as if it happened yesterday.
And to be able to rewind that and no justice or nothing has been done, and people
how we
go back with their lives and live how they want to live and still keep their jobs and go on with their lives. They can go home and kiss their kids. They can go home and touch their wives.
What was it? Christmas Eve? What was it? Right before Christmas? Christmas Eve.
They justified the police.
They played with his body, like after they sent this body to Grand Rapids for the autopsy the morning of. My cousin and then we called.
We couldn't.
Are y'all done?
Are
y'all done? They said we don't have it. We ain't done with it. We don't know nothing. Blah 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 blah. Then they called a week later. Hey, he's been done, and we've been ready for y'all to come get him. He's been ready for a week.
We're gonna cremate him as a John Doe.
Wow.
And then finally we get him back in November. He was murdered October 18th. We got him back and had his funeral, November 5th. And then he was actually buried the day before Thanksgiving. We physically buried Darius. The funeral home, we stood there with our shovels, his brothers, his sister, his nieces, his mama, his grandma, his cousins, all of us. And we buried him all the way to the top.
My God.
And then you come back on Christmas and say we're not going to charge them the day before.
We didn't even know the next day was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we didn't even. Thanksgiving didn't even matter.
It didn't matter.
Christmas and Thanksgiving will forever be different. They took that away.
It didn't matter. Yeah. Thanksgiving didn't matter.
It destroyed my family. We're rebuilding, but every day I tell people, if I could describe how I feel, it feels like walking on glass.
Every day.
Walking on glass. And it's cutting me, but my feet not bleeding.
And you keep stepping.
And it doesn't get better. You know, they say it gets better.
It doesn't.
Time don't heal it. Mm-mm. Time don't heal it. Time will never heal it.
I miss my son more today than I did yesterday, and the day before, and the day before.
Time don't heal it. Never to get to. Whenever you have no never ending, no kind of justice, how can you heal from that? you can watch forensic files and people get justice after 35 years. They done found a body and yep, we knew it was him. But we know who did this. We actually know their names. And they still have jobs.
And you have to be worried about being sued and saying alleged and, you know.
Or retaliation.
He didn't, I know who shot my son.
He killed him. He shot him 9 times in the back.
He said it. He was, the guy who did it he was a new recruit. He was a young guy. He was a young guy. Yeah, he was a young guy. He was trying to he was basically working himself up to being on the police force. But just so happened on this night, they called him. And that's what it was. He wasn't even officially a police officer at the time.
He's the only one who landed any bullets in Darius.
Yeah, he wasn't officially a police officer. See, like that's type of stuff they didn't want nobody to say.
He was a fireman.
He was a fireman.
He was a fireman.
What?
That's the type of stuff they didn't want us to say.
Wow.
That this guy really wasn't officially a Benton Harbor police officer yet. He was still moving himself up in the ranks. You know how you have to go through certain steps to get where you want to be? Like you start off as a security guard at the mall, and then you work your way up to security guard at DHS, and then you work your way up to being a fireman, and then you work your way up to being a police officer.
This I am gonna say. 2 weeks before they killed my son, Officer Chris Takamoto and Officer Calvin Williams came to my house looking for my son. I told Calvin Williams, fireman, rookie cop, Takamoto is a bad cop. Please get to know the people in this community for yourself before you listen to him. 2 weeks before they killed my son.
My goodness.
That same rookie cop.
So
they knew who they was coming for.
It sounds like he wanted to add murder to his list of achievements to be a cop. Was he relocated later?
Right away.
Yes.
Both
right
of
away.
Both of them.
Well, they're only 15 miles away. But
they're right there still. Pretty close.
They're only the next town over, but
so one is in another state.
Yeah, but that's just the next state over.
And he's still working with the community. That's just sick.
No, they called it justified.
Yeah, they said it was justifiable because he feared for his life. How did you fear for your life from a boy who was riding a bike down the street who wasn't shooting at you? How were you scared? No gunshot residue on either one of his hands. How were you scared of him? How were you in fear for your life? From their per Benton Harbor police.
Yeah.
For the autopsy reports.
And the autopsy don't lie that he didn't have no gunshot residue on either hand. And the autopsy definitely don't lie that he had 9 bullets in his back.
Yeah.
How was he riding at them, shooting at them? Like, how can you get shot in your back if you're riding and shooting at them? I'm riding my bike down the street and I'm shooting.
9 bullets. They didn't say what happened to his leg.
Oh, and he was shot in his leg.
They didn't say what happened to the leg.
They broke his
leg. They broke his leg. But it's not, you know.
It's just certain things.
You never ever hear about the stuff that really goes on behind the scenes.
They broke his leg.
They broke his leg.
There were people there in their houses that were watching. There are people that watched and seen what happened. They have spoken and all of that and talked about what they saw. And we got video. And we've never released it. It's never been released to the public. Never been shared. You know what's quite ironic, if I can say, is that I showed my cousin Ayanna for the first time today. She had never seen any of the video footage that I had until today, 4 years later.
Gosh.
But it's the world we live in. It's the world we, listen, I would be crazy if I sit up here right now and say that this ain't never happened to nobody else because of that. It happened yesterday.
It happened to her brother.
It happened yesterday.
That don't make it okay.
It's gonna happen tomorrow. It's gonna happen the day after.
Well, we need to change.
It didn't happen 100 years ago. It's gonna happen in 100 years. I got a cousin. He's an officer. He's Black. He said, everybody ain't the same. I said, yeah, you're right. I said, but it's good people, it's bad people. It's people out there with good intentions. It's people out there who want to protect and serve and get back home to their kids. The one thing I will admit as a Black man in America, and I'm gonna say this live, is the fact that I can understand the scrutiny that an officer can go through, waking up, looking himself in the mirror and putting on his uniform every day, because another person will go kill somebody that they know, been knowing their whole life, brother, sister, cousin, we just seen it all over America.
It don't make it all right.
It don't make it all right. So with that being said, if you sit up there doing your job and you want to make it home to your family, that don't mean you have to use excessive force to get where you need to go and make it home. That don't mean that. Everybody that gets pulled over, every Black person, Mexican, I'm just naming minorities, that everybody's not a criminal. I know how to listen to simple orders. I know that if they tell me to get out the car and put my hands up, that's what I need to do. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna fight, because that gives them their excuse and that gives them their reason. And I understand that too from their point of view. Anybody in America know that if you a grown adult in America, if the police tell you, stop, freeze, put up your hands, do it. Whether you're right or wrong.
No.
Man, listen, they can't do nothing to you for that.
Listen.
They can't do nothing to you for that.
Listen.
That's not true though, because people get killed even when they're listening and putting their hands up.
I understand that.
That's what I was just about to say, because
There's a lot of people who've been on and shared.
Yeah.
I got stopped by the police in handcuffs. And what they did to me because I had my son and his 2 Black friends in my car, and they wanted to make an example out of me because I was running my mouth and I had on an I Am Karate hoodie and I said Black Lives Matter, and they handcuffed my ass, and I ain't never been in cuffs. And they left my son and his 3 friends in my car for over almost an hour, intimidating them and all of that. You get what I'm saying? Like in the police take with that, you get what I'm saying? Why? It's freedom of speech. If a white person gets pulled over and says Black Lives Matter, they ain't gonna do that to them. When they bust the window in his car.
I seen that on video.
I mean, I think there's enough videos out so that we know that people that are cooperating still get murdered. So
I seen it.
There's enough story. I know a ton of families, hundreds of families, a lot of their loved ones were cooperating. They still got murdered, Black, white, and Mexican. So,
Minority.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
But
But
what I'm saying is,
because but cancels out everything you said before.
How? I watched my daddy get tased and beat by the police, y'all, when I was 10 years old. I'm talking about beat. Takamoto, Pace.
Here we go again.
Listen, Takamoto, Pace, Denny Brown, And Jim
The same
Cobra
officer.
beat my daddy and took him in the house and laid him down in the bed.
So it's the problem. That's what the thing is. It's the problem of officers that use the force. I don't think that every single officer is out there trying to kill. It's the problem ones that aren't dealt with.
But if they not speaking up, they part of the problem.
Correct.
Exactly.
But guess what happens
They're
to those
all bad.
that do try to speak up?
Well,
They end up
you gotta
dead.
stand for
They
something
end
or
up
fall for
getting shipped
anything.
off. They end up losing their
You gotta
job.
stand for something or fall
They
for
get
anything.
called out. You know what I'm saying? You got to.
I
you
can
got
have
to.
this cup and let them tell it it's a gun, and they shot because they fear for their life, and they gonna go home to their families, and
they gonna swing that story however which way they want to make it go to fit their narrative.
Period. It doesn't matter what I do. I could be Tinkerbell.
Okay, and the fairy tutu
With
and
fairy
everything,
dust.
and they still gonna pop.
And if they say they fear for my life because I was
saying.
flying and they shoot me dead, I'm dead. It doesn't matter, and they still gonna go home to their family.
No, my thing was like I've ran into all kind of officers. Believe it or not, I'm on house arrest right now. You said no. I'm just saying. I done ran into officers. I'm on house arrest right now, and I'm here. I'm at your house. No, I'm not. At the end of the day, though, what I'm saying is,
Oh gosh,
that everybody is not the same. We all got to take action for what we believe in. Yana got her, she got a reason. You see what I'm saying?
I have a question for Ayanna.
Yeah.
Did the mayor, someone left a comment, did the mayor tell you need to let this go?
yes,
he did.
Hell
Yes,
yeah.
he
And
did.
yes, he did.
Yes, he
and
did.
yes, he
Yes,
did.
he
Adam
did.
said, yep.
I heard that. I watched it.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
said,
and I commented to the mayor out loud in front of everybody at the rally. He ain't
and
say
if I'm not
nothing.
mistaken, y'all, quote me on this, when we went down there to watch the video at City Hall, when we walked out of there, just before we walked out, he told us, y'all need to leave this situation alone.
That's Mohammed. That's
Mayor
what
Mohammed. He told
He
us.
sure did.
It's
Yep.
justified.
He said, y'all need to let this go.
Let this go.
No.
But they didn't show me not one video that justified their action.
No, they all be in cahoots with each other.
They is.
That same officer came over here. What you said, he wasn't in this branch. He was somewhere else. He was gonna help
Karate's
us.
brother.
He's
Karate's brother talking.
You said he was gonna help us. So and then I got arrested Valentine's Day, and
Can you hear him?
I can hear him.
Okay.
I got arrested Valentine's Day, and the officers, remember that? The officers told me, they didn't know me. I told you I wasn't going to jail. He was like, just cooperate, go ahead. I was at Karate Shrine at that time. So I was like, all right, cool. I went down there. They told me they didn't know me, I'm like, whatever. So they came out the back, pulled up my Facebook. Just like they was one of y'all, and I'm like, oh man, I thought you said you didn't know me. And then that other officer that you told me was gonna help us came from the back. Out of nowhere, and I was handcuffed to a bench. He made sure he was at a certain distance, he knew he could tell I was mad or whatever was going on. He was like, you must want to end up like your brother, and then I'm like, oh,
Wow.
I didn't even say nothing from there. I just looked at the cup, like, I can't even reach you. I'm just thinking in my head, like, what I want to do to you, but I can't. So I just held myself down at that point in time, and then I'm just noticing, like, y'all ain't, either way it go, whatever branch you in, y'all not really for us.
Yeah. No.
So it's injustice, period. Like as you can see, here we are 4 years later as a family, and we are still as angry as we are the first day.
You confused like the first day, like it feels like this shit just happened yesterday.
And it does.
That's crazy, man. I can't do it.
Like you was talking about, like you said, Takamoto.
That's crazy.
You told the other officer Takamoto ain't a good officer, Remember that I got when I got arrested, it was a rookie cop. Remember that rookie cop?
Yeah.
And it was an asshole cop.
Yeah.
And he was going crazy. He said, open the door. And I told Cameron to open the door. And then he pulled his gun out for no reason. And the other officer, he was over there shook up. He didn't even know what to do. He like, step out the car. Okay, we get out the car. Once we got to the station, all the other officers left out. He was like, man, I don't know what's really going on. I can tell you a good guy, and this ain't really what should be happening. You know, we could throw all of this out. It's up to them, but I know they're not gonna do that. You know, and then I told him
the officer got on the stand and said they had no reason to harass him. They had no reason to stop him or say nothing.
Yeah, that was the only officer that
So
didn't
did the
go
case
against.
go to court?
Yeah,
And it was dismissed. Yeah, that's what you went to prison. Yes, that's right. You went to prison.
No,
True.
so
Yeah.
he but this same officer was good at first. You know, when I got out of prison, I had a friend, Mike. He this same officer that was good before was with this same officer that was bad, the asshole officer. So years later, this used to be good officer is on camera at the store down the street, beating on I don't want to come over there, beating on one of my friends, you know, on camera. So obviously him being around this bad officer for so long changed him into, you know, something similar. And he didn't have nothing in his hands. Now he wasn't resisting. He was walking backwards, you know. He got tased and then he got beat for no reason.
So the supposed good cop from before, that's why we say no good cop, because they're either going to turn into what they're around.
It just rub off on them, you know, and they
or they're not going to be a cop anymore.
No.
If they're a good person, they will get out of that.
No, they just he ain't gonna get out of it because now he's high strung. And I tell you, the one thing that I truly believe about officers is you're not a cop until you kill somebody.
That sounds bad.
I think it was all a setup.
Well, it sounds, I mean, that's what it sounds like. With everything leading up, I mean, he was threatened. This stuff happens more than people think. And I just want to also, the numbers of the police killings, the last time I checked the numbers, it was 4 to 5 people being killed per day. And that's this, you know, right now. So, you know, it's happening every day, literally. And there are a lot of families that can relate with you guys through your experiences.
Yeah, it's been a lot. Yeah, we have a history of dirty cops.
Yeah.
We have a history of dirty cops, like Andrew
So
Collins.
it's a white cop named Andrew Collins who planted drugs on over 80 black men in
the
Benton
city of
Harbor.
Benton Harbor.
He got busted and went to prison, and those 80 black Benton Harbor youth sat in prison.
That was at my house.
Wow.
House they raided. That was my house they came.
It's just ridiculous.
My brother Rico Hardy beat their ass.
Wow.
That was at my house.
And not to mention,
the Empire in Columbus, that was my house.
Isn't where Darius was killed? Wasn't that where the police tapped old boy on his motorcycle and he flew off?
That right now.
T-shirt.
On T-shirt. There was a guy named T-shirt. Yeah, that was the second killing in like almost the same exact spot where Darius was killed. They killed T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like it was a big
Wow.
riot.
It
Benton Harbor.
was a high-speed
highlight.
chase.
Yeah,
on a motorcycle.
Yep.
Was that later or before?
That
No,
was
this
before.
was like
His name was
98.
Terrence Shern.
98, 99.
Yeah.
The police was chasing him on his motorcycle,
And they tipped the motorcycle
and they tapped it, and he flew and
into a
they
building and it blew up.
and they killed him. And this is almost around the same area where Darius was killed.
Same corner, same street.
Same street, same corner. Yep.
Wow. That's,
Might
can't make this stuff up.
Coincidences.
And then we even had an officer here who hung himself because he was a dirty cop who was using women for sex, who had like drug offenses or were drug addicts or just had cases, or probation officers. And it was like, so they all got together and they filed a complaint against him. And he hung himself.
Wow.
We have
Wow. Not surprising to hear. I'm reading some of the comments that are coming by about specifically that area. So I'll definitely be looking a little more into that. So we've gone just a little over an hour. Is there anything else before we close up that you want to share, that last messages from your family and moving forward with everything?
I just want people to know that my son loved hard. He loved real, he loved strong.
They're asking about Darius's case, if it went to court, and what did they show?
It did not go to court. It was justified. Nobody ever talked to us. Nobody ever communicated with us.
It was published on the
No,
paper.
it was just in the newspaper.
On Christmas
Nobody
Eve.
ever reached out to us. The only police contact we had is when they came and pulled their guns on us that night.
So you guys just learned from the newspaper that they declared it justified, not even
on Christmas Eve.
And I chose episode 16, because he was killed in 2016.
My goodness. I'm so sorry. They seem to do that also. This is one of the common things I find with families. They pick significant dates to do some evil shit by, just another stab to us. Not surprising to hear.
Right after his birthday.
Yeah.
So we celebrate his birthday September 26th and his murder October 18th. Back to back.
And then some summers I have picnics. I am karate unity picnics, where I just try to get the community together. Everything's free, just trying to spread love.
Big old bounce inflatables, food, everything, yeah, and give back. And is that I do want to share this with the world so they know. Every event that we've ever had since Darius was murdered has always been peaceful. There has never been any violence, any gunshots, like the police don't even come around. We take up the whole park. We go every year where Darius was murdered at and host these events.
And we don't need the police.
And we don't riot.
We don't
have
have
problems.
no violence. Have any problems.
No.
One other thing I want to say is there was a gentleman named Eric Bradford who painted a photo of Darius, and he put it in a lot across the street from where Darius was killed. And since that photo has been there has been no violence in that area. I speak with the lady that lived next door to where the sign is, and she told me she was so thankful that his photo was there. She said because she felt that it was protecting her. There had been no violence since it had been there. So I'm
that photo, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. He did a wonderful job. The guy did a wonderful job.
And so I'm thankful for that. And that just means God is answering prayers. Just do what Darius would want. And Darius was not a promoter of violence.
Not at all, of any kind.
He did want you to video, so.
Yeah. Now I tell you, he didn't start fights. Yeah, his friends say he didn't start fights, but he finished them.
And he used to love, one thing about Darius and his brothers and them and his friends, they would sit in the yard and they would box. They would love fight and box each other.
Let's get in.
Like, well, come on, let's get in the gloves.
They just found other ways to.
It wasn't no reason to go grab a gun and have violence.
Yeah.
They fight out in the yard. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's some of the most memorable videos in the world.
After the funeral of mine, I wouldn't take the boxing
gloves
off.
Yeah, Tyrone wouldn't take the boxing gloves off after the funeral. He took all his clothes, he took off his white tee and had his gloves on and was like, I ain't taking them off. Who wanna fight? Who wanna fight? Who wanna fight? And nobody was fighting.
Everybody was just hugging on him and loving on him.
He just wanted to get hit.
Karate always like, come on then, what you talking about? I'm just so used to
it. And my boys always wrestled and played in the dirt. Like I said, do honey, going arrows. They did all the rough, dirty boy. Let's get stuff.
Thank you so much for having us on, and thank you so much for bringing awareness to Darius
for
Wimberly.
allowing me to share his story.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, so I will definitely I'm gonna go through the comments later. Recommend you guys do see all that came in from this. Lots of support and love. And yeah, I'll be posting this to YouTube as well. So I'll send you the link when that's ready. Okay. And then yeah, just my condolences as always to your family. And
you for the loss of your brother as well.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you. Okay, you guys, and thank you to the viewers for watching and tuning in with us
tonight.
Thank you
everybody for being here. Prayers and blessings to you all. We are karate.
We are karate.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
we is.
Take care, guys. Bye.
right.
Our karate.
Bye-bye.